Practical boxing is a street fighting system, reality-based, that put together a lot of different systems, and starting from one thing, the problem.
Near the end of the video, you will learn a practical boxing combo.
I'm going to show you the combination I did in my last video, but I'm going to add a different swing. I never made on video this swing, so that's for you.
Who are you and what is your story?
I'm Walter, I'm 38, and I'm a fighting sport coach. And as the majority of people watching this video, I love combat and I love research about fighting. About martial arts, I always love both the beauty and the beast. So the beauty is the pure movement, is the flow, while the rough part is the beast, is the fighting sports, and it's the reality of self-defense. But despite martial arts are my job, I struggled for the majority part of my life as I thought that there was something missing in my fighting system until I met Chris. And I started teaching martial arts when I was around 20. I was a good instructor, but I wasn't a very good businessman. So the economy of my gym went down and I had to leave Italy. I was living in Italy and I had to move to London, where I'm living right now. At that time, I was 41. And it was tough to move when I was not that young anymore. And I had to start from scratch again. My first job was as a kickboxing teacher and a cleaner in a kickboxing gym. But in 2 years, I got the manager of the gym. Meantime, I started to turn up the bare-knuckle boxing society. And that's when I started reading some stuff from Chris on Quora. And that clicked starting in my mind because everything made sense. And I tried to contact him to see if I could train with him. But he said he was sick and he couldn't at the time. I got very upset. Yeah, little I know that he was a man dying. And I had the great opportunity to train directly with Peter Constantine for self-defense. Peter Constantine is a legend in self-defense. He's one of the founders of modern self-defense concept, if you don't know him. And then when I certified as an instructor with Peter, I had to find a name for my course. My style was a lot with punches, a lot with boxing. So Peter suggested me, you should call it practical boxing. So I decided to just contact Chris again to tell him, just as a form of respect. But the day I had my next contact with Chris, it was my lucky day. Because he said, look, I'm better now, and maybe if you want, we can train together, we can meet. So we met each other. And meeting him was an epiphany. Chris' teaching stand out. And this system stand out from anything else I'd done before. And I'd done a lot of things. As everything made sense to me. And everything was very powerful. So after the meeting, we had more and more meetings together. And eventually I decided that was my style. And I started to collaborate with Chris. And eventually I started teaching too. And by the way, at the time I had my second child. So my family was great. I had my own kickboxing gym when I was the lead instructor and manager. I had my course in practical boxing. I had training with Chris. I had training with Peter Constantine. My life was a dream life. Everything was perfect. Until everything dropped down altogether, suddenly. It was the COVID time when the gym when I was teaching practical boxing shut down. I couldn't train with Chris, obviously, because he was sick. He was old. But still we exchanged some messages and I sent him some video training and he gave me some tips. Until one day he called me and he said, Walt, he called me Walt. Walt, for a couple of months we can't see anymore. We can't exchange messages because I'm going to the hospital. I have to do a cycle of therapy. And this was the last time I spoke with Chris, unfortunately. So COVID is over. My practical boxing course shut down. And then is when my wife had very serious health issue. I decided to leave my job as an instructor and manager in my kickboxing studio and find another job closer to my house because I was working in central London at the time. It was far from my house. I had to stay more close to my family at the time. And I find the local gym when I started teaching kickboxing there. And again, I start everything from scratch. And you can imagine that at the time I had few time to begin another course in practical boxing. And for 2 years, I was just running behind my wife's health situation, my family, and the new job I was starting. So 2 years passed by. Chris wasn't there anymore. I wasn't teaching practical boxing. And I realized that if I wouldn't do that, no one will do that. And the world will lose practical boxing forever. And at the beginning, I didn't want to do that because it was overwhelming. I was feeling alone because practical boxing is a huge system. There's a lot of things. And doing all the things on my own, it looked like something too big for me. But again, I thought if it's not for me, no one is going to do that. So let's work, man. And here I am.
Who was Chris Price?
Chris Price was a great coach, a man ahead of his time, a very practical man, a very intelligent man, and a man with a great passion. And he loved to give you, as a coach, everything. I remember he couldn't walk properly because he had a leg paralyzed. But when he went to bag, he looked like a young man, punching. He had a very good technique. It was amazing. I was like, who's this man? It looked like two different persons. The old man walking, and then the young coach teaching you. And he was an engineer too. So he had this skill of organizing everything, see the problem and find the solution. And they had a great problem when he was a young coach in the 80s, because they had the gym in a very tough area of London. Then he had to find out solution for the problem of street fighting involving multiple people, knives, gang fights, because he had a lot of people in his gym working at the door. Or anyway, they had a lot of fights in the street, even if they avoided that. And he thought in his career as a coach, a lot of different styles of martial arts and fighting sports. And for a case, I found out one of his early students is a friend of mine. So imagine how many people he taught. And he was teaching him Taekwondo in the early 80s. And what he told me is that the problem with Taekwondo, the reason why he left, is because he was giving him too many boundaries. And he was looking for a system that was more rough, more direct, and with less rules. And that was Chris.
What does his system consist of?
Practical boxing is a street fighting system, reality-based. They put together a lot of different systems, and starting from one thing, the problem. Now, one of the main things that Chris did, he put everything so everything worked together. They noticed that the best way to punch with bare-knuckle was the old way they used to punch in England. A very complete system with bare-knuckle punches and wrestling. Put it together with the modern mechanics of boxing that are much better. And that's what he called as the engine of practical boxing. That was the main thing. Then on top of that, Chris was a Thai boxing instructor. So he put some elements from all those styles. He put the elbows, the Thai clinch, obviously the knees, some kicks, some cover for the old bare-knuckle boxing. Oh yeah, we have 6 different headbox techniques, plus the great tactic for group fighting, a particular way of falling on the ground, rolling, particular way of standing up with multiple opponents. We got some drills, there are specific drills of practical boxing. Other drills though you can find in modern boxing or you can find in wrestling. And a great thing that Chris did, he put together the fighting sport with the self-defense in one system. Fighting sport is great. There are things that you can't work with in self-defense. So fighting sport, they had a great evolution. Problem is sometimes the evolution is an evolution that move around the rules. For example, the fact that you use the gloves change everything. In self-defense, you got the dirty movements, for example, and a very specific technique for the street. But the power is when you can put together the two.
Have you added anything to Chris Price's system?
There's some stuff I added to the style, and the good thing is that some stuff I added to the style when Chris was still alive. So I had a chance to discuss it with him. I had the variation of the swings. Oh, I forgot to tell you, we got the swings. So one variation I added is a kind of back fist that is used in Slavic boxing. Slavic boxing is a very good system because they used to fight with multiple opponents too. And for example, a lot of things that I learned with Peter Costerdine about the awareness of the environments, or some concept with multiple opponents, or some concept for the power generation. I know that Chris really respected Peter, so I'm okay with that.
What are your plans for the future?
Well, we got a lot of projects. We just recorded the course for the straight punches, and you know, a lot of people wrote that Chris put on internet the best material for bare-knuckle punches. And I want to make the best course you can find on internet for bare-knuckle punches. And also there are a lot of courses that we're going to add for practical boxing in the future. Also, I got my own kickboxing curriculum. It's particular because it's a kickboxing curriculum based on my experience, but based on practical boxing too. So you can take the things from practical boxing and use it on the ring straight away. I work a lot during the years on mindset, related to fighting sports. So I want to add this to our platform too. I think this is a very important thing. I'm organizing to giving a chance to people that is really interested in practical boxing to open some study group around the world, because I got some people asking me for that. And maybe in the future, who knows, we may have instructors, practical boxing, they deserve it, and people around the world deserve to learn it. I'm going to show you the combination I did in my last video, but I'm going to add a different swing. I never made on video this swing, so that's the first time for you guys. I'm here, starting with the elbow. From here, this hand here, I'm going to move here. I'm going to move on the side, punching, uppercuts, and then you do whatever you want. Elbow coming here, moving and punching. Now, what if you manage to really move the other person? What I mean, I'm here, I'm pivoting, using my energy, now it's here. The uppercut is not going to work as good as it used to. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use this swing here. I'm going to swing my leg, my hip is going to go up, and I'm going to hit. I can hit with the forearm or with the arm. Over there, over there. You don't have to be, thank you. You don't have to be so precise. You can use all this part. Just make sure you protect your thumb. All right, so these two parts represent the face. Here. Then, of course, from here, you can do other things. Moving down and grab. Let's do it again. 1, grabbing 2, 3, 4. You can go with the forearm. It's higher, go with the uppercuts. Can go here. It's higher, go with the uppercuts. Then, of course, when the position is here, you can use the knee, coming over there. You can go back, grab, and throw, or do something like that, something less like this. All right? From the other side, 1, 2, 3, 4, or 3, 4, or 3, 4. Then from here, obviously, when the guy is here, you can go down, lift it up, and throw. Thank you.